Well, it is great to be here with the one and only Tom Ziglar. I can't believe it. You're here. You're all suited up just for me, right, Tom?
That's right, John. I tell you what, it's a pleasure to be here, and I actually recommend that we do this because I got results right away. So I think this is pretty cool.
That's fantastic. And so for those that don't know you, Tom, for the few people out there that don't know who you are and what Ziglar's all about, can you give them a quick introduction to your world?
Sure, I'm CEO of Ziglar Inc. Zig Ziglar was my father, and we've got a pretty cool company. We have a certification program. We've got almost 250 certified trainers around the world. I get to go out and speak and write and carry on the Ziglar legacy. So I think might be the luckiest human being on the earth.
Well, there you go. And the way that Tom and I got connected was really fun. We met through Mark Tim, who's part of Ziglar, and I helped Mark with his LinkedIn profile, and then he introduced me to Tom. And Tom thought it would be fun. I give you credit for this idea to kind of go through his profile today, show Tom a little bit of what I did, ask some questions, and I think along the way, everyone watching is going to get some great tips for their own profile. So without further ado, I'm going to take it away here and start sharing my screen. So let's make sure everybody can see Tom's profile here. All right, and I'll move us up to the corner. So one of the things I wanted to talk about with LinkedIn profiles, and I don't know if you've noticed this yet, Tom, do you see the magic green dot?
Yes, I see that. I have no idea what it means because I'm still brand new.
Okay, good. Well, I want to talk about this because this is one of the key ways to do some real-time lead generation on LinkedIn. So for example, and there's a way to turn this off in your personal settings, which I can explain later if you don't want the green dot to show up. But when you land on a prospect's profile and you see this green dot, what that's telling you is he is on LinkedIn right now. He's active. There's a way to talk to him. So when I open up a message here and then I want to talk to Tom, you can see LinkedIn now with its messaging sequences. When I'm talking to Tom, it's almost like a text message exchange. So I can say, hi, Tom, great to see you, right? I can add in photos here. I can add in attachments. And the way it works is it goes back and forth like a text conversation. So you can see here, Tom read that message, right? And it gives us context for the conversation. And I just think that's really neat, a neat way, because isn't that kind of key, Tom, with when you're talking to a prospect in real life, you need to have some bantering, right? You need to have some back and forth.
It's all about relationships. And, I've been pretty involved with Twitter in the early days and, of course, Facebook. And those platforms just aren't as good on the conversation side, right? You can tell each other what you're doing, but that relationship's a little more difficult.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I mean, I think that's one of the big things, and I'm just going to move my screen there out of the way. But this messaging inbox, for everybody watching, this is probably the number one feature of LinkedIn, or I would really encourage you to spend time in this inbox. And we're going to go back to Tom's profile in a second. But you can see here with the green dots, it's going to tell you when people are active. If they're on mobile, there's Tom. And you get these, this ability to have conversations. So you can come in, you can see the context, the back and forth, and you can quickly scale real-time one-on-one conversations with people who are good prospects, right? So there's different ways to do this. So without forgetting why we're here, let's talk about your profile, Tom, all right? So here's what I wanted to focus on first. One of the things when Tom and I worked together on his profile was really clarifying his title. And one of the big things with LinkedIn that I talked about with Tom and Mark and everybody at Ziglar was really putting in some keywords here. So yes, he's the CEO of Ziglar Inc., but instead of just including job titles, you want to include keywords. And so what we really identified we wanted Tom to be known for is the speaking, right? You're an in-demand speaker. You're very popular. A lot of people bring you in for conferences. So we wanted to make clear, two things that you can get from Tom are conference speaking, motivational speaker. And think about this. When you see Tom on LinkedIn or anyone else, you see their face, you see their name, and then you see this little title. So what you really want to have in there for everybody watching is, yes, if your job title is important, and it is for Tom, put that in, but then very quickly pivot to some keywords. What are you known for? What do you do? Those types of things. And I'll show one other tip of how I put this together for Tom, because this really matters on LinkedIn, is down here, you see these featured skills and endorsements. And really what's interesting about these is LinkedIn has basically said, whatever you put as your top 3 skills and endorsements, we're going to identify you all over the website as being known for these things. So would you say these are good ones for you, Tom, to be known for? Public speaking, motivational, conference?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then you can see we've got more skills there for Tom, but even notice what LinkedIn does here. This is kind of a little hidden nugget where it says Tom is also good at, right? But whatever is above that line, the top 3 are what you want to really have sprinkled throughout your profile. And again, it's under this area of featured skills and endorsements. It's on your profile page. And what I love about LinkedIn is it's a lot like Google. So if I go in and I start, updating my profile, so I'll go over to mine just to show people how this works quickly. You go down to skills and endorsements, and then it will actually give you a drop-down menu of suggested terms. So let's go down to mine. I'm not known as a worldwide conference speaker like Tom Ziglar, but I'm working on it, okay? But if I type in speak, right, it'll immediately start, or speaker, it'll start showing me these are things that, we categorize people on. Speaker development, speaker placement, speaker selection. Maybe I want to be known for, speaking, okay? Then there's different suggestions for that. So with Tom, I knew conferences were big, so I did conference speak and then conference speaker, right? And then it brings in different drop downs. So, you can see this is a very valuable place to spend time. Now, a couple other quick things I wanted to cover with Tom's was really understanding the experience section, because I know, Tom, tell us a couple of the different things that you guys feature with Ziglar, some of your core programs, offerings that you want people to know about.
Right. So our biggest program that I love to emphasize is our Ziglar Legacy certification.
Yep.
And that is where we certify people to go out and carry on the Ziglar Legacy. They're authorized to speak and train on our content. They carry our brand. And it's the way we really are getting the word out. We have 250 certified trainers. And so this was one of the things I asked you to do, which was cool because I wanted to be known as a speaker, but I also want to be known as the company that equips and encourages and empowers and educates others to do the same thing. And so our main vehicle is our certification course.
I love that explanation. And that's what I wanted to show people with your profile, Tom, was, instead of having it read like a resume, which is kind of step 0, we turn it around to be client facing, right? So it's here's who I serve and the people I help. But the other big thing people get stuck on is, well, I do a lot of different things. And so in Tom's case, it was, yes, I want to be known for the speaking. You can see we have that, but also Ziglar Legacy certification, other opportunities people have to work with Ziglar. So let me show people how I did this for Tom. So at the very top, you have a summary, right? And this is kind of hidden nowadays. It's right under your, name and message tabs. So I put that in, but then what I really encourage people to do, and what we did with Tom, was under this experience section, normally people just think, well, I have one job, one company, I add one item. So I would only add Ziglar, and then I would try to explain all the different things Ziglar does in this first one. But instead, what you can do, and what we did for Tom, is add multiple sections. So what we did was we created one job listing for Ziglar, the CEO, and we focused on the coaching, the leadership development, and sales training. And then we broke all that down here, and I'll explain the strategy behind that in a second. But then we created a second listing for Ziglar, motivational speaking, conference speaking, keynote speaking. That's all about Tom's speaking side of what he does. And then we went down and added another one for Ziglar Legacy certification, training development. And really the takeaway for everybody watching is, you can serve multiple audiences. You can showcase multiple products and services. The best way to do it is create multiple experience listings. Rather than trying to jam everything into one listing, if you create multiple listings, what that does is it gives LinkedIn more keywords, more ways to find Tom. Oh, Tom wants to be known as motivational speaker, conference speaker, keynote speaker, but he's also known for, training and development, train the trainer certification, Ziglar legacy. So there's lots of different ways that we can feature this. And then Tom and Ziglar have so many good assets, so much good media, you can add video. So for instance, with Ziglar legacy certification, we've got 3 videos, 1, 2, 3. Here's the introduction to the program. And then we drive people over to a landing page, right? To the ZLC landing page. So I wonder, Tom, should I show people a little bit more about why I wrote your profile the way I did? What did you think of it when you read it with the headings and the different things? I'm curious.
Well, I really liked it because it's instead of just fact, it's more like a handshake or like a relationship.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And it gives some of the why behind it, why we want to do it, which to me is real important.
Yeah, I love this. Okay, so even let's just show people the speaking one. So this was the experience section on Tom being a speaker. But instead of just saying, Tom Ziglar and writing in the third person like a resume, Tom Ziglar is a speaker who has been here, here, and here and does speeches on this, this, and this. We really started with my story, right? Growing up as the son of Zig Ziglar, I had a front row seat to the incredible impact and inspiration he provided more than 250 million people worldwide. Kind of telling a story, bringing people in like a handshake. And I use these all capital phrases like my story or my mission to really break up the text on LinkedIn, because on your profile page, you can't bold or italicize. You have to really use all capital letters to grab attention. But what we do is we unfurl this like a story and we talk about my mission, right? And then if you want to book me to speak, here's what you can do. You can learn more. Areas of expertise. These are different keywords that I found. Again, using that skills and endorsements area. These are keywords that LinkedIn says out of our 500 million members, if someone types in these specific phrases and they're connected to someone who knows Tom Ziglar, or geographically they're near Tom, or they have interests similar, there's all these algorithms that tells LinkedIn, surface Tom, show Tom. And so that's why you want to have these keywords. So another example with the Ziglar legacy certification, this is more my standard template of what we do, right? What it means for you if you go through this program, what you're going to discover. Here's the skills you're going to pick up, why this matters, right? What you're going to be able to do, ready to learn more. So it's about, I guess, Tom, I want people to really understand how we turned it away from being a resume and fact into a story. So what's been the reaction to it? People who have viewed your profile, you said you've already got people talking to you. What's that been like?
Yeah. So the big thing for me is that I've probably had 4 or 5 podcast people who want to have me on their shows, interviews, talk to several different people. That wasn't happening before because I think they were coming and they were just saying, oh. And now they come and they go, oh, that's a fit, right? And so that's the difference between that. So that's the main difference. And I'm getting on LinkedIn now probably every day or every other day, responding and going back and forth. That's resulted in some other connections that it didn't have. And so instead of it just being just kind of laying there, it's like kind of taking on a life of its own, which I'm enjoying.
Good. Yeah, I love hearing this stuff. This is music to my LinkedIn ears. What I would say, too, for people, understanding not only the inbound leads, and I'm going to show one more thing before we go here, Tom, and I know you got to get back to your training, which, of course, is what you're doing because that's what you do. But I want to show people the power of LinkedIn, not only for the inbound leads that come in through your profile, but for the outbound leads. So let's take an example. Let's say Tom wanted to reach out today and connect with people who identify themselves as a business coach. You can literally use LinkedIn's search engine like lead generation. Okay, so you can type it in, business coach. You can filter your search results by people. You can see LinkedIn has immediately said, here's 30,000 people who identify themselves as a small business coach, right? As a business coach. You can see the power of this, right? Business and success coach. So if I'm someone that has a product or service for business coaches, I can filter it even further to people I'm not connected to yet, second level. And now I've got 10,000 business coaches I can connect to today, like right away. So immediately can send a personalized invite, can immediately begin building a relationship, having that LinkedIn messaging ability so that we can kind of talk one-on-one here in the inbox. Because once I connect with you as a business coach, then we're able to talk back and forth. And there's a whole, method to the madness of how to do this, but you can get so niched. So give me an example. Give me a city that you love, Tom. Give me a place that you love, to connect with people from.
Melbourne, Australia.
All right. Ooh, the challenge. So I can go.
We're throwing it down.
We're throwing it down. So I go into locations, right, of business coaches in Australia, and I'm going to start getting people now. It's narrowed it down, right? The riches are in the niches. I now have 800 business coaches in Australia. If I want to really take on the full Ziglar challenge, let's do, we said Melbourne, right? So Melbourne, Australia. And I'm going to enter that, and it's going to change it around and narrow it down to, let's see how many we get. I'm going to uncheck all of Australia. Let's just see. Okay, so 185. Wow. I still have 200 business coaches based in, you can see business coach, right? Executive business coach. And they're all based in Melbourne, mate, right? So what you could do right now if you were Tom Ziglar, you could send, and I have third-party automation software that I show people how to use that will help you not have to do the manual copy, paste, open, right? I won't get into all that. But you basically could go in, you could connect right now today with all 200 of these coaches with a one invite that says, hey, insert the name. Hey, Shannon. Hey, Paul. Hey, Bobby. Notice you live in Melbourne. That's one of my favorite places. Would love to get connected. We love working with business coaches. I'm visiting Melbourne in January. Hope to see you at the event I'm speaking at, whatever that might be. But you have context for conversations now. This is the power of LinkedIn for people to really understand how nuanced you can get with lead generation. Because if you think about, say, Tom is going to a conference in Melbourne and he wants to, help invite some people to attend to see him speak, and he knows business coaches would be perfect. He can go through, and Tom or his virtual assistant, someone on his team can go through, and there's an automation software that will let him send 200 invites instantaneously, like an email blast or an email broadcast that puts in their first name, that inserts the text and says, hey, I know you're a business coach in Melbourne. I'm coming for an event. Would love to see you there, et cetera, et cetera. So this stuff is so good, isn't it? Did you realize, Tom, you could be doing all this with LinkedIn?
No.
Yes. Now you do, though. Now you do. I love it. I love it. Well, I want to say thank you, Tom, for taking a couple minutes, letting me use you as my LinkedIn guinea pig. You were a very brave man.
Yes, thank you. Well, it's my pleasure, and I'm looking forward to really digging in and getting the gold out of LinkedIn. So I'm excited.
Thanks so much, Tom.
Thank you.